Hello, everyone. My name is Joel Leon, and I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit today about the Rcnl. That was one of the things that really stood out to me about this whole chapter, and I just want to go a little bit more into depth about it and what I really think about it. I do want to apologize about not having a actual video feed, but I figured this would suffice so you can look at my pretty little background here. Now, as you know, RCNL stands for the Registration and Community Notification Laws. The book says it's described as a way to protect the community and providing them with knowledge about sex offenders who may be at risk of reoffending. Now, all laws usually start out with great intentions, but as with any other thing, as time goes on, we'll definitely start to see a lot of hiccups and a lot of things that don't necessarily add up or a little bit too complicated. The RCNL is no exception to this rule, and even the book discusses how much stuff that it can be a little overcomplicated and how murky that this legislation can be. Every state can go about how they handle their offenders differently, but there are a lot of things that the RCNL kind of generally keeps consistent. A few of the things that are kept consistent would be like registering after your offense into either a police station or a national registry system, or verifying your address, location of employment, and things of that nature. Another defining factor of the RCNL is the tier system, which goes on about different levels of offenses that will require different actions. Tier 3 being high risk, Tier 2 being a moderate risk, and Tier 1 being a low risk. What we hear the most in the media is about how all sex offenders usually have to register in the system, and then once they move into a community, they have to notify all their neighbors of their level in the system. Now, the book goes on to describe that Tier 2 offenders are usually the ones that is going to be your base limit, that some community members will be notified about your action, and Tier 3, everyone in the community is notified about what you've done, which is a great system, I believe, and I feel like this gets a lot of scrutiny because it's kind of the shaming, but sex crimes are always a hard topic to discuss, and you always have a lot of scrutiny just in general for talking about it. But you would think something like this wouldn't get a lot of scrutiny in the legal system, but surprisingly it does. There were a couple of cases where the RCNL was deemed as unconstitutional because it violated some ex post facto laws and some double jeopardy standings. Now, the book brings out the point, is it possible for any legislation to actually reduce the amount of sexual abuse? Of course, with a question like that, you always want to assume that, yes, what the government is doing to reduce is actually helping. But what's shocking to me was that it found that after multiple studies, 5 out of 6 showed that there was no significant decline after the enactment of the RCNL. With results like those, you want more definitive evidence that this is actually improving something, because for the small amount of people who actually have been charged with something that they didn't necessarily commit, that you won't find out until 15 years from now that they didn't actually do, they're stuck with a 10 to 15 year registration and essentially ruining a lot of parts of their lives because they're stuck with a tag of sex offender. Now, I want to show you guys something that's a little terrifying, but it kind of brings it into the reality of how many people are affected by this kind of thing in general. This is the amount of sex offenders that we have just in the area around the university. So, I mean, it has the red is for, offense against child, rape, so on and so forth. You see on here. So it's kind of scary looking at all these little red dots just around the area that we're in. You would think that you're in a lot safer area. And the book actually brings up this point as well, of how it kind of causes a little bit of a panic because you see so many people in this registry for the same, like for different levels of crime, but they're all still in the same registry. And these guys can be so local to where you're at. And it's not going to click on any. I don't want to show any of that. But it is definitely a little. You can find that information at familywatchdog.us. But as far as going back to the RNCL, I think that it's one of those type of programs that does a lot of good in a way of notifying who is around you, but it can also do a lot of harm. I'm definitely on the side for keeping it active, but I definitely think it's something that we can definitely work on. I want to thank you guys for listening to me. I don't want to drag this on too long, but comment down below what you think. I know you also have me on Blackboard, but I just wanted to do a video for this last one. I just want to thank you again. It was a great class, and hope to see you guys in some ones in the future. All right, bye bye.